You wake up and something already feels off. Not heavy in the body, but dense in the head. Like your mind never powered down, like it just carried yesterday into today without a break. You think maybe you need more sleep. Maybe you just didn't rest enough. But if you're honest, even after a full night, that feeling is still there. So what's actually happening? It's not that you're doing too much. It's that your mind never gets a clean exit. Think about your day. Does anything truly end, or does everything just blend into the next thing? One task flows into another. One thought triggers more. One notification pulls you into a loop. And even when your body stops, your mind keeps running. That's the real problem. Not effort, not workload, but constant continuation. Your system stays active without interruption, and without interruption, there is no recovery. Most people misunderstand this. They think rest means switching to something easier, lighter, passive. But passive does not mean restorative. If your attention is still engaged, your brain is still processing, still working, just in another form. So instead of slowing down, you stay in motion. And over time, that builds pressure. Not sharp, not intense, but constant, like a quiet hum that never turns off. That's why even simple days feel heavy, because your mind never resets its baseline. Nothing fully ends. Nothing fully clears. Everything accumulates. Unfinished thoughts, small decisions, background tension, and this is where it gets important. The exhaustion you feel is not from what you do. It's from what you carry without release. Every mental process that doesn't close stays open, and open loops drain energy slowly, continuously. That's why you feel depleted even when nothing significant happened. Your mind was active the entire time. Now here's the shift. Recovery is not about adding something. It's about removing input, not replacing, not optimizing, not improving, reducing, creating moments where nothing enters the system, no screens, no conversation, no stimulation, just stillness. And this matters more than people think, because the brain resets only in absence, not in distraction, not in low-effort activity, only in quiet. At first, this feels uncomfortable, because without input, you notice what's inside. Loose thoughts, unresolved tension, mental noise. That's why most people avoid it. They fill every gap instantly. But that avoidance is exactly what keeps the system overloaded. The moment you stop escaping, things begin to settle. Not immediately, but predictably. The noise organizes, the pressure drops, the pace slows, and energy begins to return. Not as a spike, but as stability. And that stability is what you've been missing. Not motivation, not discipline, stability. Now make this practical. You don't need long breaks. You need clean interruptions. Moments where activity fully stops. Between actions, before automatic behaviors, after finishing something. No transition into another input. Just a short pause and the key detail. You close the previous moment before starting the next. That's what most people skip. They move forward without ending anything, so everything stays partially active and the load builds. But when you start closing moments, something changes. Your day gains structure, not forced, natural. Start, end, gap, start, end, gap, instead of one continuous stream, and that gap is where recovery happens, not later. Not at night, inside the day. This reduces accumulation before it becomes exhaustion, because fatigue is not sudden. It's layered, small inputs, repeated without interruption. So instead of fixing the result, you stop the process. Less input, less switching, less anticipation. And that last part matters, because a big part of mental drain is not action. It's constant projection, thinking about what's next, what's unfinished, what might go wrong. Your mind stays slightly ahead of reality, never landing fully, and that creates background tension, subtle but persistent. When you insert pauses, that projection weakens. Your attention returns to what is actually happening, and the system stabilizes, not because life changed, but because the load decreased. And once the load drops, everything improves. Focus becomes easier, decisions become clearer. Reactions slow down, not forced, just more efficient. This is not about becoming more productive. It's about removing what makes you ineffective. Overload, continuous input, constant switching, lack of closure. You don't need more effort, you need less noise. And when that happens, your energy evens out, your thinking sharpens, your state becomes steady, not perfect, but controlled. And that's the difference. So test this once, before the next automatic action. Stop, don't replace it, don't fill it. Just pause, let the moment end, and watch what changes, because that small break in continuity is where clarity begins. And once you notice it, you won't ignore it again? So answer this honestly. Do you ever actually stop, or do you just keep switching?